this video, which is part of our continuing series on time and division of time in and grouping of time in music, I'm going to introduce the concept of beginning to notate down rhythms and notate down time. So we're going to talk about something called a time signature and how it connects to our concept we learned in earlier videos of simple time and compound time, and how those two types of time, simple time having a sort of a division, a feeling of a division into two, and compound time having a division into three, how those two times connect to time signatures and to notation. In other words, how do we write it down? It's all well and good that we can feel compound time, we can feel simple time, we can feel the beat, but how do we get it down on paper? How do we communicate that to someone else so that they can replicate it and play it? Well, in order to do that, we must remember that, first of all, it's all about the beat. What we are doing in music is we are ultimately designating a note value to have the beat. We say that for this piece of music, or for this section of a piece of music, this particular note value will be the beat. So, we might say a quarter note is going to be assigned the beat. Or we might say a half note will be assigned the beat. Or we might say a dotted quarter note will be assigned the beat. Whoa, you might say, hang on a minute, a what? A dotted note? How does that work? Well, for that we're going to need to understand what the dot does to a note or to a rest, and we'll define that right now so that we're clear on that. You can add a dot to a note or to a rest, and it will lengthen the note by half its original value. So if you have a note that is a quarter note, you'll remember from our discussion of time and the way that time is notated, and our discussion of the divisions of notes in accordance to one another mathematically, we noted that a quarter note naturally divides into two equal parts, 2 eighth notes. And that's just mathematical division. So the quarter note divides into 2 eighth notes. If we add a dot to a quarter note, we lengthen it by half its original value. So that means we lengthen it by half its original value, which means one more eighth note, creating 3 eighth notes to the value of a dotted quarter note. So the technical definition is that a dot lengthens a note by half its original value. What that essentially means is that you take the original value and you add 1/2 again to it, creating a 3-note grouping that is equivalent to this one dotted note. And that's true for rest too, because all notes have rest. The quarter note has a quarter note rest. If I put a dot after the rest, it is now the same as having 3 eighth note rests. So rests and sound events, notes, that are equivalent to one another work in the same way. The dot lengthens the note or the rest by half its original value. Now that's important because the point of this video is simply to say that what we are doing when we are talking about time and when we are talking about how to notate and write down time is the first step is that we need to designate a beat. And we can designate any note value, dotted or not, to be the beat. Now that's the first step. The second step is we need to say, well, how fast is that beat going to be? Is that beat going to go this fast? Or is the beat going to go this fast? Or anywhere in between, or faster or slower? Or we have to designate it as our job as the composer to determine how fast the beat will be. And we do that by using a numerical value. We simply say how many times that beat will occur in a minute. And so we use something called a metronome marking, metronome marking. The metronome is a I was going to say an instrument, but it's kind of a tool that was developed in order to clearly divide a minute into regularly recurring clicks. And many of you have probably seen metronomes, and now you can get them on your phone or you can get them electronically. You don't actually have to have the old-fashioned type, which used a weight to determine how quickly a bar would move back and forth. Now you can get them electronically, and you can set them for pretty much any division of a minute. So what you could say is, for this piece, a quarter note will equal 60 beats in a minute. Well, fairly logically, if your quarter note is equal to 60 beats in a minute, then your quarter note is going to be beating, is going to be going past, the beat is going to be the equivalent to 1 a second, because there are 60 seconds in a minute, and you have said the quarter note is going to equal 60, which is going to equal 60 beats in a minute. Or you may say that the quarter note is going to equal 120, so it would be 2 beats a second, or 80, which is a little bit more than 1 beat a second. And again, the metronome will give you that specific division, that specific click that would be going on in the background behind the piece of music. And then once you have the beat and you know how quickly it's going to occur, you can then organize all of your music, your melody, your harmony, the events that are going to happen in your piece. You can organize them around that beat. You can organize them to be coinciding with that beat, or to be in between that beat, or to be constantly fighting that beat, being off the beat. And you can designate this beat to be, in a sense, that background click that keeps everything moving forward. So the concept I want you to get today, I want you to understand what a dot does to a note, because you can also define later on, you can say that a dotted note value equals a particular amount of clicks per minute. So I want you to understand what the dot does to the note and to a rest. And I want you to understand the concept of giving a note value a beat, assigning it to the beat, and then assigning it to a speed or an amount of time that it will occur within any given minute. I need you to get that concept in mind before we can move to the next concept in time. And so, concept of dotted note values, and of assigning note values to a beat, and of designating a speed for the beat to go past.